So Adobe Audition has a built-in compressor or compression tool. To apply it, you can select your whole audio recording, go to Effects, Amplitude and Compression. I like to use single band compressor. I've got a shortcut for it set up, so C letter. And I will use it further on. So what compressor does, obviously it compresses your audio, but the way it works is it makes the louder portions of your audio track quieter while it maintains the same levels for the quieter parts of your audio. And the main two settings here will be threshold and ratio. So threshold, you can imagine it as a sort of a line. So in this case, let's say it's -5 exactly. You can imagine a line right here, -5, and right here as well, -5. So threshold will determine from which point compressor will apply. So in this case, everything that is above -5 decibels will be reduced by the amount that is determined in ratio. So in this case, not much is above -5 decibels. Yeah, so if we apply it, as you can see, it either didn't change anything at all. Oh, it did change a bit, but just a very tiny bit. And that's because most of our audio is below -5 decibels. So before I apply compression, what I usually like to do, first of all, I clean up my audio recording so it doesn't have much noise and so that I don't increase the noise levels in my recording. And then I apply normalize effect, and I usually normalize to 0 decibels. So that's the maximum amount of volume I can have without introducing audio clipping. If I go further above that, there will be audio clipping and distortion. Now I go back to my compressor, and if I apply the same settings here, you can see that it will start to work. It reduced those peaks of mine, but the lower volume portions of my audio remained intact. And now let's get to ratio. So ratio will determine how harsh the compressor is. The higher the ratio, the more significant will be the reduction in terms of volume for all of the audio that is above the threshold. Let's say if I put it at -30, it will make so that my audio will peak at -5 decibels. It won't go any higher than that. You see? It's sort of like a line. So that would be that's what people call a hard limiter. Nothing goes above this level. Usually you want to have your ratio at about 2 to 4 to 1. So I believe it was 3.5. Yeah, let's make it 3. And these are two main settings in the compressor. You also have attack. So attack works like a fade-in effect, but for vocals, I like to leave it at 0 because if you set it, let's get back to where it was. And if we set it at 100, for example, it will take 100 milliseconds, like a fade-in effect, for the compressor to kick in. And as you can see, it misses a lot of the peaks. It did affect our audio somewhat, but it missed a lot of the peaks. That's why I put it at 0 for vocals. And then release, I don't really touch it as well. It will take 100 milliseconds extra, like a fade out effect for compressor to stop working. So it will make it slightly less abrupt. So 100 milliseconds, usually that's where I leave it. I don't think much about it. And I only mess with the threshold and ratio, although I don't do any work with music, only voiceovers. And output gain, you can increase the gain of your audio, but I just leave it at 0 because I would rather do that with the normalize effect instead of using a compressor. So let's apply these settings here. And as you can see, I made my whole audio recording more compressed. So it lost a lot of its dynamics. It's not as dynamic because it has a lower, let's say, amplitude, and I reduced the dynamic range of it. But now that is more compressed, more even, where compressor becomes useful, you can increase your audio levels back to like the maximum 0 decibels, the peak level, and you made your audio recording louder without introducing any clipping. And you can repeat this process again if you want to. You can make it even more compressed, as you can see, and then you can make it louder, because now every time you make it louder, your peak levels, they're always at 0 decibels. Once I set my normalized peak level at 0, they're gonna be the same, but your quieter parts have become now louder by 10 decibels. So your whole audio recording, the RMS or LUFS, are higher, and so the whole audio recording is loud, and that's how compression works.